Good evening. I'm going to call this Board of Health meeting to order at 6:04. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded. If you could please rise for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We're going to do the minutes first. It's a little out of order. We're starting with public comments? Yeah. All right. All right, well, we're doing something a little different. We're going to start with public comments. Anything from anyone out in the audience, anything that's not on our agenda, you are welcome to come up. Just introduce yourself.
My name is Richard B. I just want to make one comment. I've made a request to have an executive session on the bodywork regulation. Due to the nature of organized crime, that's why I made the request. I suggest that you make no other changes to this regulation. Until you go into executive session with me. Any changes to regulation will result in these bodywork spas reopening back up and more acts of sex trafficking and human trafficking. That's all I have to say.
Okay. You sure can.
I just want to say thank you for
Just
having...
make sure you
I'm sorry,
introduce
it's
yourself.
Laura Tonelli, 33 Fish Road in Dudley. I just wanted to thank you guys for having the PFAS on the agenda again today so we can get more information. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Hi. Is there anyone else? No? All right, so we'll give you a chance to get settled. That's all right.
Accident on 290.
That's all right. All right, we are at the minutes, so I will entertain a motion if anyone wants to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 15th, 2025 as stated.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passes. All right, we're up to old business. RJ's Auto Body with neighbor concerns. Is it something that you are reading, Tom, or is it you, Mr. Harden?
I have comments.
All right,
It's Mr. Harden.
Mr. Harden, okay.
Hi, my name's John Harden, 5 Office Hill Road, Dudley, Mass. Good evening, members of the board. My name's John Harden, and I reside at 5 Office Hill Road in Dudley. I'm here tonight to formally raise a concern about ongoing nuisance odors coming from RJ's Auto Body, which appears to be operating an unpermitted spray booth near my property. These chemical odors are frequent, invasive, and significantly interfere with my right to the quiet and peaceful enjoyment of my home. Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 111, Section 122, your board is required to investigate and abate nuisances that may be injurious to public health. Additionally, Section 143 prohibits trades that produce injurious odors unless they are properly assigned a location by the board after a public hearing. To my knowledge, RJ's Auto Body has not received such an assignment. These emissions also violate Mass DEP Air Quality Regulations 310 CMR 7.00, which define air pollution to include any contaminant, such as odors, that causes a nuisance or unreasonably interferes with the enjoyment of life and property. I'm asking this board to investigate the operations of RJ's Auto Body, determine whether the spray booth is properly permitted and assigned, take appropriate enforcement action, to eliminate the nuisance odors and protect residents' health and property rights. I have begun documenting these odor events and am prepared to share evidence. I also urge the board to consider the broader impact on the neighborhood and to fulfill its statutory duty to protect public health. I have a couple of questions for the board as well. At the last meeting of July 15th, I'm sorry, excuse me one second. Thomas Purcell, a smell test is subjective. If I can smell it, he doesn't pass. It's supposed to be odor-free. The problem is the location of the discharge. If the test passes, then he can go forward with painting. If we get another complaint, the cease and desist comes back, and that's the end of it. The test will be done at more than one location, the abutter's property and the property line. I'll run the test in the next 2 weeks. I'll also let John know when we're doing it, so he is aware, which I was not notified. Also, John Harden, the problems with RJ's auto body has been going on since July of 2022. I don't think any action should be taken on any new materials that RJ has just submitted. Right from the start, he has been in violation because he has not done the peer review. The Board of Health voted to have him do that, and he has yet to do it. You would have to vote to change the peer review requirement. Also, the May 20th, 2025 meeting, timestamp 3250-4635. That's on YouTube if any citizens want to look at these meetings. I had brought up the fact that the town council said there would be no further opportunities if he didn't follow through with the original requirements. So why is he still being allowed to do work? On July 3rd, my wife could smell paint while she was out by the pool. I called Tom, and he did come out. I asked for a report. I called the new Board of Health agent, Tom, at approximately 2:10 on July 3rd and informed him that spray painting was being done inside RJ's shop, but I never heard back from him if it was investigated. I found out later he said he did investigate it and he admitted to the painting. So another violation of the cease and desist order. And then I'll give this paperwork to Amanda so she doesn't have to take notes. She can just have it in her files or electronically copy it for the board members. So this is a letter to the Board of Health dated 8/19 today, 2025. The subject is a request for enforcement of peer review order under MGLC 44 and 53G. Dear members of the Board of Health, I am writing to formally request that the board enforce its previously issued order requiring RJ's Auto Body, LLC, located at 65 Schofield Ave, to undergo a peer review of its body shop systems by a qualified professional engineer pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53G. As you are aware, the board voted to uphold the recommendation of the former health agent to require this peer review. To date, the owner of RJ's Auto Body has refused to comply with this order. However, the board has not voted to rescind or modify the requirement, and therefore the order remains legally binding. The board's failure to enforce its own decision undermines public trust, compromises environmental and public health oversight, and sets a dangerous precedent for regulatory noncompliance. I respectfully request that the board reaffirm the validity of the peer review order, issue a formal notice of noncompliance to RJ's Auto Body LLC, and take appropriate enforcement action to compel compliance. If the board believes the order is no longer valid, I request that it hold a public vote to rescind or amend the decision in accordance with open meeting law and procedural fairness. Thank you for your attention to this.
Do you have a copy of that for us? Because I
I'm
don't
gonna
have
get
that in email.
I just told you that I was giving Amanda copies of all
Oh,
of
you
this.
said you sent it today, so I
No,
just
no, no,
checked.
I dated it today.
Oh, would have been nice for
Might have
you to send
misread.
that to us.
Would have been nice, but
Yeah.
I think the town needs to hear what's been going on.
They can hear it, sure.
Okay,
Keep
good.
going.
So here we go. So I got another question. This is to Chair Johnson. I
Yeah.
am writing to formally inquire about the process by which the employment contract for the interim health agent, Mr. Thomas
So
Purcell, was
We're not
executed.
going to talk about...
What do you mean? I have the floor.
Excuse me.
No, for
We're-
RJ's
yeah.
Auto. This
No,
doesn't
we're-
pertain to
We're talking
RJ's
about
Auto.
RJ's, we're not talking about our health agent, so we're not going to entertain that. If you have more to say about your complaints about RJ's, we're happy to listen. If not, then we're going to move on. Because we're not here to talk about...
Well, his actions...
We're not here to talk about... No.
His actions are intertwined with RJ's Auto Body. But okay, that's fine. I'll send this out. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. To the Dudley Board of Health. Subject, request for qualified oversight in nuisance odor investigation. Dear members of the Board of Health, Dudley Board of Health, I'm writing to respectfully request that any investigation into nuisance odors in our community be conducted by a health agent or a professional who is trained in recognized odor assessment methods. Odor complaints are inherently subjective and can be difficult to evaluate without proper tools and expertise. Industry standards such as ASTM E679 and E544 provide structured approaches to odor detection and characterization, and training in these methods ensures that investigations are fair, consistent, and scientifically sound. If the current health agent has not received training in olfactory testing or odor evaluation, I ask that the board consider providing access to professional development in odor assessment, partnering with a qualified air quality inspector or industrial hygienist, using standardized odor logs and wind tracking tools during investigations. This request is made in the interest of public health, transparency, and the integrity of the board's response to environmental concerns. I appreciate your attention to this matter. Dear members of the Dudley Board of Health, I am writing to formally lodge a complaint regarding ongoing nuisance odors emanating from RJ's Auto Body located in Dudley, Massachusetts. This business appears to be operating an unpermitted spray booth, and the resulting chemical odors are invading my property on a regular basis. These emissions are offensive, persistent, and significantly interfere with my right to the quiet and peaceful enjoyment of my home. Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 111, Section 122, your board is required to investigate and abate nuisances, sources of filth, and causes of sickness that may be injurious to public health. Additionally, Section 143 prohibits trades or employment that produce injurious odors unless they are properly assigned a location by the Board of Health following a public hearing. To my knowledge, RJ's Auto Body has not received such an assignment for its spray booth operations. Furthermore, under Mass DEP regulations, 310 CMR 7.00, air pollution includes any contaminant, such as odors that cause a nuisance, is injurious to health of property, or unreasonably interferes with the enjoyment of life and property. The odors from RJ's Auto Body meet this definition and are a clear violation of my rights as a property owner. I respectfully request that the Dudley Board of Health conduct a prompt investigations into the operation of RJ's Auto Body, determine whether the spray booth is properly permitted and assigned under Chapter 111, Section 143, and take all necessary steps to eliminate the nuisance odors and enforce the applicable health and environmental regulations. I am prepared to provide documentation of the odor events, including dates, times, and impact on my property. I trust that your office will take this matter seriously and act in accordance with your statutory obligations to protect public health and property rights. Well, I'll skip that for now. A letter dated April 28th, 2025, Roger Frappia. Dear Roger, the Board of Health would like to thank you for attending the meeting on April 15th, 2025. This letter is to inform you that, as discussed at the meeting, the cease and desist for your spray painting operation remains in effect. I have included a copy of the meeting minutes where the board voted to continue the cease and desist of spray painting operation at that site. Also voted on by the board, you must provide Board of Health with a copy of your fire department permit and DE permit for the waste oil furnace. I just wanted to read that. Then, because the chairman said she really didn't have any experience in odor detection and any experience in noise investigation.
It doesn't fall under my jurisdiction.
No, that's okay.
Yeah,
But so that we had the town council, Jeff Blake, come to the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And you asked him for his advice, his professional advice.
I know, we've gone through this before.
But the
so
town really hasn't heard all of this.
They can, because it's all videotaped, so they can also go back. So
I'd
if
like
there's
to read
something-
this.
if
I
there's
have my
something-
time. I would
If there's
like to read
something
this.
different other than what you've already discussed.
Well, he's saying that the operations must cease immediately
that
until
was-
full compliance is achieved.
All right.
What I'm trying to bring about is the fact that full compliance has never been achieved. He's never done his peer review.
All right, so I
And then
understand
I
that.
find out, okay, I won't read it to the town. Hopefully they'll look it up on the
All right, so-
YouTube website.
So.
Hang on.
No, you hang on, because.
I have the floor. You gave me
do,
permission to
but-
speak, didn't you?
I did, but about new things, and you keep talking
have
about.
something brand new.
We're not gonna sit here all night, Mr. Harden, but I wanna ask you a couple of these questions. You want us to investigate the proper use of the spray booth and the auto body and the peer review. So let's talk about those things instead of you going down the timeline all the way back to when, because I'm not gonna entertain that. We've already discussed that.
I was told if I had the floor, I can speak my piece.
You can speak
So if
your
you want to
piece, but I
violate
can-
my civil rights again, that's fine.
I violated your rights before?
You have,
I have?
by not taking care of this.
So, okay, all right, so let's discuss these two things here.
I'd rather
I'm-
discuss the fact that Mr. Purcell
Yeah,
on his very own, with there was no meeting or no vote, he here we go. July 24th, 2025. Dear Roger, thank you for having me to your site on July 22nd and July 23rd to witness your spray booth in operation. You informed me that you now have installed carbon filters to better control odors. Having observed the paint booth in operation, found the painting operation in compliance, and you may resume your spray booth operation on the following conditions. You must maintain a log of dates and times of operation of the spray booth. Spray booth filters must include 2 or more layers of dry fiber, 2-inch thick total, and it gives a laundry list of what he needs to do.
Right, so we don't need to have a vote for that. Says who?
Well, you wouldn't let me discuss anything regarding Mr. Purcell and the validity of his
You don't need to.
appointment as interim health
That's not what this meeting is
agent.
about. It's not what this
So
meeting is about.
again, you're not letting me
So-
speak.
About something that doesn't belong on the agenda. That's his
This-
personal
this-
stuff. Mr. Purcell's personal things do not belong on our agenda.
He's the one giving him permission to
His work-
start
his-
spraying again.
his work
He's
history.
interfering with my family and my right to not have nuisances interfere.
His work history has nothing to do with our agenda.
Why is he allowed to just arbitrarily?
Do you hear me? His work history has nothing to do with our agenda. That is the part that I am not going to let you speak about. So I'm going to give you 5 more minutes and then we're going to move on.
Well, I just have further, okay, here we go. I sent an email to Amanda on August 13th, 2025, 3:55 PM. Hi, Amanda, I just pulled into my driveway at 3:45. The loud exhaust fan was running and I can smell strong odors of paint. This is on August 13th. Can you please share this information with all of the Board of Health members? Again, July 18th. I'd requested if,
Did you call Tom on August 13th? Because I do remember in our meetings that
so-
if you smelled something, to call him. Because by the time Amanda would email us,
okay, here we go.
I'm
So
just- okay,
on
yeah,
Friday,
okay.
August 1st, I sent a letter to Mr. Ruda.
Yep.
Because of what happened and transpired with Mr. Purcell.
from the August date that you emailed, that's what I'm asking you.
This is
So
a
can you
August 1st.
Can you
20
answer my question?
Sure.
So you emailed Amanda to share with us that you smelled something. But in the past, I remember Tom saying, if you smell something, to call him so he can come out right away. So by the time she emails us, maybe she didn't see it for a few minutes, emails us, by the time we see it, the smell might be gone. So I'm just wondering, like, so you're standing up there upset at us because we didn't do anything about that, but you didn't call the health agent to come out right away.
Are you done, really?
Oh, okay, so
Can
we're
I-
almost done.
can I read
Yeah,
this?
Yeah, go.
Mr. Ruda, I am writing to you regarding the interim health agent, Tom Purcell. At 10:44 on July 31st, 2025, I called Tom to report a loud exhaust fan nuisance emanating from RJ's Auto Body at 65 Schofield Ave in Dudley, at which time Tom said he would investigate. I then called Amanda to report the same so someone else would be aware of the issue. The loud exhaust fan nuisance continued. At 2:27, I called Tom Purcell to report that the exhaust fan was still running, and while going to get in my car, I got a strong whiff of paint odor. Tom told me that he was just there earlier and said that they were not painting at that time. I was a bit upset and started to ask him what authority he had to tell RJ that he could resume spray booth operations when Tom said not to call his number again and hung up on me. Now, I sent a copy of this to Amanda, and this was on Friday, August 1st. Subsequently, other times I had called and reported odors and nuisance sounds, and nobody ever reached out to me from the Board of Health, because I had assumed you guys read what
Bless
I
you.
had submitted.
Yep.
Bless you. This has been an ongoing issue since August of 2022. The Board of Health issued a cease and desist order on which numerous occasions has been ignored and witnessed by others, including Roberta Johnson, the chairman of the Board of Health. Jeff
Which
Blake composed the
I want to
letter.
know where that proof is, sir. How do you, you're saying that I witnessed what? RJ painting?
You said on tape, you said you saw him.
I wanted you to clarify, because I was wondering in the email what you meant by that.
You said on
Yeah.
tape in
And
one of
there's
the
a couple
meetings, you
other
said,
things.
I saw you myself, you
I've
said.
seen- I've also read that letter, and a couple of things in that letter I wanted to clarify with you, but we're running out of time, so.
Well, now's the time.
No, it's fine. We've got less than 2 minutes. So.
I don't think you can do that. I think I have
think
the,
we need to, we can. I can.
I don't think you can.
Okay,
But
All right.
regardless,
go ahead.
Jeff Blake composed a letter to RJ telling him to cease all operations and that there would be no more warnings. If operations continued, the town would have to take him to court to get an injunction. This is on tape too, by the way. To remove his exhaust stack and spray booth, which were installed with no permits. On July 3rd, my wife called me to report that at approximately 1:30 p.m., while my wife and grandkids were in the pool, offensive and overwhelming odors continued, forcing them to go inside. I reported this to Tom and never heard back from him. At the last town meeting, Mr. Purcell said he was going over to do a smell test at RJ's, and he said he would inform me of the date and time so that I could be there, which he did not. On July 22nd, at 1:12, my wife called me to inform me that the exhaust fan was running and she smelled paint again. She saw Tom and RJ outside behind our fence, on RJ's side of the fence. I was surprised to hear that they were doing the test without contacting me, as was discussed at the July 15th meeting. I called Tom in at 1:15 and left a voicemail. I didn't receive a call back from Tom. At 8:14 on July 23rd, I called Amanda to report that I had not heard back from Tom, this was AM, and that I suspected that they did the smell test without letting me know, and that I didn't hear back from Tom. I asked Amanda to please send me any reports or records pertaining to actions or test results in regards to RJ's auto body. On July 24th, I received a copy of a letter that Tom Purcell was giving to RJ saying that he could resume spray booth operations. This letter was why I was asking in the phone call what authority Tom had to issue the letter when he told me not to call his number again and hung up on me. I believe he was out of line and that the Board of Health needed to address this cease and desist issue at the next Board of Health meeting by holding a vote. The last conversation that I had with Tom, I was admittedly upset and frustrated, but that is no excuse for telling me not to call him and hanging up on me. It seems to me, after numerous attempts, that I can't rely on the town or its personnel to protect me from toxic particles, odors, and noise that we have been experiencing for years. This whole ordeal is a matter of record via the numerous Board of Health meetings on YouTube. I just wrote, I am confident that a Superior Court judge will find them shockingly disturbing. I have much more, but if you don't want me to go on.
It's all the same stuff, though, so.
You asked me why I didn't call Tom. That's the reason I didn't call Tom.
understand. So I think. I'd
So
like
you
the-
guys never contacted me with a follow-up after I informed you
Yeah.
that, and then I complained over and over again because we kept smelling the paint. And then this morning, but when my wife was doing the laundry, she could hear the fan running, and she looked outside and she saw what appeared to be Tom outside. Her vehicle wasn't in the driveway, so I imagine he didn't know if anyone was home or not. Looked like Tom wearing a brown or black cowboy hat that looked like Tom from the videos. He was standing pacing alone at 11:02 when he started walking down the neighbor's outside steps, walking back towards the front of the shop. The blower was still running because she had heard it running. He returned alone at 11:06 to the same spot behind our fence, which is not in my yard, but it's on the other side. She opened the bedroom window facing the fence that is approximately 12 feet away from the fence while he was standing there, but apparently due to the noise of the blower, he did not hear the window being open and did not notice me looking out the window. I noticed that when the breeze came through the window on and off, there was a slight odor of paint. Tom stood there from 11:06 to 11:24 at times looking at his cell phone. He then walked down the neighbor's steps, heading back towards the shop. The fan blower was still running. And then she noticed a blue SUV type vehicle pull out of RJ's lot and left, and that was it. And then RJ, because he got permission to run his spray booth, apparently kept it on, from like 1 to 1:30, she said. So this is ongoing, and at the last meeting, Tom had said that if it can be smelled again, if there's another complaint, this would be the end. Much like you told me that, oh, let's give him another chance. If it happens again, that'll be the end. It's never the end. This is continual.
Yes, was that you in the cowboy hat? Is he talking about you?
Probably.
Probably, okay. So you
It's
work,
not black.
I do have a question. There's a lot to unpack.
Do you want me to sit down, or do you want me to?
No, you
You can stay,
Okay.
whatever you prefer.
Perfect.
Do the members of the Board of Health, because I see those emails, but I didn't know if I could jump in my car and go down to RJ's and see if I smelled something. Is that, can I do that? I mean, is that, I'm unclear. So it's only you.
I'm your agent.
I know you're the agent, but I just meant if you were up,
If you,
to witness something or to,
if you do respond for any reason,
I would, I'm
you are
just.
no longer a member of the board at that time.
Okay.
You now become a representative or an agent for the board.
So therefore, when we see these things, there's nothing we can do except discuss it at a meeting.
Please stop.
Pretty much. What you can do is, again, you can act in behalf of, as the agent for the board.
I give any Board of
Oh,
Health member
can we
permission
let Mr.
to
Purcell and
enter my
Sandy-
property.
This is why I asked him not to call me anymore, because he steps all over my sentences, and he just will not let up. And I don't want him just nonsensically calling me. I'll take a report, but that's about it. I don't need the reiteration of the diatribe of what he's doing. All he's doing is just
I understand everybody's
grading on it.
frustrated. This has been going on for a long time. I was at the meeting where the cease and desist was issued. I was at the meeting where the peer review was suggested and agreed upon. I'm just asking, when these emails come in, and what are we supposed to do outside of this meeting? Is there anything, you started to say that I can't, because then I would then become the agent and not
The
just a member.
agent for the board. If for some reason you should call and talk to other members to get direction or whatever, that's a violation, that's an
I'm aware.
open meeting law violation. So,
Well, if I talked to more than one other person.
right, more than one, that's,
More than one,
because
yep.
now
Yes.
Or five.
your quorum is 3, so. Well, in any event, like I said, it was, if you go out and act, you're only acting as an agent. You're not acting as a member of the board. Well, if you should go out, go into a shop and find there was a health violation there, and you could probably take an emergency action right at that point. And then the other thing to do is call the enforcement people, which would be me.
So outside, okay. I'm not sure I completely understand what you just said. I don't want to act as the agent because I'm not, and I'm not qualified to be a health agent.
Right.
However, when these things come in, it's difficult to to do nothing and to feel that, you know,
I understand.
and just in an effort to be helpful, I'm asking, like, what can we do? Nothing. Listen, read the email.
I'll do some research on that and get an answer for you. Again,
Can we keep the
just
noise
because
down in
the-
the audience, please?
The smelling is so
Polite.
subjective, and there may be some smells that you don't smell that I might be more sensitive to, or I'm just asking, it's a blanket question, I'm
Yeah.
not running out to RJ's, but I'm just asking,
Right.
like, what do we do outside of just talking and, you know, the situation continues, and we're talking about it at every meeting. Can we talk about the peer review again? Is that,
peer review has been done.
oh, it has been done?
Yes, and Mr. Frappier has volunteered the information to me.
Okay.
He's had, between DEP being there, and there's an outfit or an organization called OTV. I'm sorry, OTA. It's the, hold on just a second.
Is that something that's in writing that he received?
OTA, yes. I have it in writing, but what it's supposed to be, it's confidential information. When they do an investigation, like anything else, it's not public record.
So how does it help us?
What it does is it explains that he's not in violation. It doesn't say, use the words he's not in violation. What it does say is it tells him what to do and how to improve his situation so that he's not in violation.
But it says he's not in violation, though,
Indirectly, yes.
indirectly. However, it gives him some additional
Guidance.
guidance.
Absolutely.
And does he have to take the guidance? Does he have to take the guidance
Well,
forth in that
that's-
confidential?
That's what I included also in his, when we lifted the cease and desist, was just what the guidance is from OTA.
But we don't have that. We're not allowed to have that.
Well, again, he volunteered it to me,
Okay.
okay? Again, when they go and do, when OTA does evaluations, that's the chemistry part of DEP. They send people out and they do all the evaluations, and any report goes back to Mr. Frappier. Doesn't go to DEP, doesn't go to me, doesn't go to the general public, goes to Mr. Frappier. If Mr. Frappier decides he wants to make it public or entrust it to me or the Board of Health, which he did, he gave it to me to assemble and to put in the packet. I have also another communication from DEP, from Michelle Delmar. And it's the same thing. When they're doing investigations, it's confidential information. If a complainant can complain about it, but he's not entitled to get all the investigative report back. That's why Mr. Harden had a very difficult time getting hold of Michelle Delmar, because she has to maintain confidentiality between DEP and Mr. Frappier. Mr. Frappier volunteered,
And
The
you're the
report.
holder of this
and
confidential.
I have that communication. Mr. Frappier volunteered it to me.
And you can't show it to us so that we can
Well, I mean, I'm
understand or,
So
I'll check on that. I can check on that.
okay, that would be helpful.
in that peer review, does it say the things that are recommended for him to fix? So the things that he came back to our meeting and
Yes.
said, he fixed the, I always call it a chimney, I know it's not called a chimney, but, and then the charcoal filtering, all those things that he needed to fix in order to try to rectify the problem. Was that part of what DEP and that
OTA.
OTA
And what they-
recommended
and
that he do?
After the corrections were done, he had one or two, at least one company come in and do an evaluation on the operation, and found that, and reiterated the amount of packing material that's needed to pick up the particulate matter, and the carbon filters would certainly hold the odors down or eliminate them, depending on how much he's doing. He does maintain his log for product. He is registered with DEP as a small quantities operation. He also has from the fire department the waste oil furnace permit.
To the board, just one question. Have we received any other complaints? I mean, there's quite a few neighbors around. Is this the only complaint we have, Amanda?
I have not.
This is,
You have not received any other complaint
this has
besides
been
Mr.
going
Harden?
on for over a year.
Okay.
'Cause
I mean, I'm fairly new, and
I
people know that, but I
I
want
shocked
to try to...
myself going through this, and I looked and I saw some papers from 2024. So this has been going on for over a year.
Okay.
And as far as I can see, the only complaint that's ever come forward is Mr. Harden.
Can I go back to,
One thing that, if I may.
oh, sure, sorry.
There
I'm
was one
sorry.
complaint about the noise, and they corrected that. He had to put some tape on, some special tape that absorbed or minimized the noise. There was a rattle that went with it, and he fixed that. But it identified the corrections that he made on the stack, the flue stack. He raised it up higher. They did velocity checks on it. They did odor tests on it. What we do, and what we have to do on the odor tests is when we investigate odor complaints, I was reminded by both DEP and OTA that we have to go in and make sure that we can do a quantitative analysis of the odor. And, I mean, it's really pretty simple what it is. The condition. I want to see if I can find the checklist so that I, there we go. It's the odor intensity determination. And they have anywhere from 1 to 5. Now, they're allowed to, any business like that is allowed to emanate odors, according to DEP. It's just within limits. If I did, and I guess I did say that when we first started out, that if I can smell it, it's a violation. Well, I was reminded that that's not true.
Reminded by whom?
DEP.
Okay. Didn't get it on the record again.
So, I mean, there's different grades, all the way from a 0 to 5. Odor not detectable is 0. Number 1 is very light, odor detectable but not distinguishable. Number 2 would be light, odor detectable but not objectionable in short durations. Number 3 would be moderate, odor detectable, clearly distinguishable, and may be objectionable or irritating. Number 4 would be strong, the odor is present and objectionable.
So he's allowed to have some of those, or only a 1 or a 2?
Yeah, you're 0, 1, or 2. Those are pretty much
And what was his number, RJ's number?
3 times that I was there, 0. 3 times that I was there.
So the odor would be coming from the stack,
Yep,
and did you go in to the neighbors
I was standing right at the property line.
where they're saying they're smelling it?
Yeah, and I was, I want to say about 15 feet from the stack. And if there was any odor, I mean, I made sure the garage doors were closed. What it does is it's trying to create a Venturi effect and start pulling all the air and running, making sure it all goes through the filters. There's two sets of filters. One set of filters absorbs paint and all the droplets of paint. The other filter is the carbon filter that picks up a lot of the VOCs, the volatile organic compounds and all of that. And it'll deodorize or remove a lot of the odors or deodorize the fumes coming from the paint. Again, the 3 times that I was there, I did 2 testings myself, two sniff tests myself. And the third one was the date that Mr. Harden said it was around July 3rd, I think. Again, I found no odors there at that time. So, and that's what I observed. I have a pretty good sense of smell. I smell the tobacco. He's a smoker, so I could smell the smoke on him, but I couldn't smell the paint. And I've been around paint shops over the years with my race cars and all, so I do have a little bit of experience with that.
Can I make a quick
The
comment?
waste oil furnace, that you said was a permit, is that the same thing when you said fire permit, that the fire department has to give a permit for the?
There's 2 permits that you need from the fire department.
Okay,
One was a waste oil furnace
Okay.
permit. The other is he's got to have a fire suppression system put
oh,
in
okay,
there. But that, now the fire chief is working with him, he's granted him an extension on the requirement for the fire suppression system.
all right.
And I've spoken to the chief about it, and I asked him to don't let that thing go. We gotta start doing something.
Right.
Start working towards compliance with that.
So all of the things that Mr., I don't remember his last name, RJ Frappier, thank you. All the things that he needed to fix per DEP and the peer review were done.
Yes?
And then who re-inspected that? DEP, or no, you did?
I
All
did.
right. So he was on a cease and desist, he needed to fix everything, and then in order to operate, you had to re-inspect him, and he was okay, because he met the standards per those 2 groups.
Correct.
Does the DEP need to come back out? Can they come back out? I don't know if that would,
I doubt if they will.
oh, all right. Will the other
They
group
will
come
only
back
come on
out?
they'll only come on a complaint.
Oh.
Oh, they'll be getting one after this meeting.
So
Can
I
I
don't
say
know,
something,
what
Roberta?
else, I want to ask you, what else can we do to prove the things that he's done?
So, just so Tom understands.
Yeah,
The geographical location of my house is in direct line of the exhaust fan from both the spray booth and the waste oil burner. So if you come to, you're welcome to come take a look. Tom, Sandy, any member of the Board of Health that would love to come look at my property is definitely can. So my whole house just filters all that air. There's nobody that is affected by it because of the way the wind blows, and the elevation of my property is higher than the building. By standing at the fence line, which is a 6-foot fence, he's not smelling so the stack is higher than that fence, and that smell gets carried right over that fence into my yard. I mean, your own previous health agent, back in, on May 29th, this is a letter to Roger Frappia. He wrote, "With your cooperation and access to and abutter's property, I verified that the emissions from the spray booth stack are excessive and cause a nuisance condition of odor that made my eyes water and irritated my nose." In fact, he said he still smelt it in his nose when he was home. He could smell it.
And this was prior to him adding those filters, et cetera.
Well,
Yes.
we're still getting the odors. That's why we've
And
been
I'm not saying
calling
you're
all
not, but
along.
that statement was, that was before he added the
Right.
filters.
Yeah, correct.
Charcoal.
So
and-
I think what I gather, we're still gonna have some smells within those categories?
I was aware, I was told that he can't have any offensive odors.
I reiterate it.
Property.
I made a mistake when I said that. I didn't mean, I guess I thought that was the way the rules were. That's the way I acted on it. And when we found out that that was not the truth, it comes down to the same thing when I do noise. We can do noise to an X amount of noise at the property line. We can't stop people from making noise, but we can minimize it.
And again, this may have been said prior to me coming on. RJ's is zoned business,
Yes.
okay? Mr. Harding, you're zoned residential, or
He's in a commercial.
he's also in a commercial zone too? Yes?
I haven't really looked into that.
Okay, so
Probably-
zoning is a big thing too.
I think I am zoned that.
Okay.
But that goes back to stuff that Roberta doesn't want me to discuss because it's not under her authority, under the Board of Health, which
Oh, that
used to
Tom's
be.
private stuff.
No,
Oh.
no, but that used to be Henry's Auto Sales and Service for years.
Sure.
And then Mr. Frappier rented it from Henry.
Yeah.
He came in and he never pulled a building permit. This is what started the whole thing, and it
Okay.
could have been stopped from the beginning. He did not pull a permit. He brought in a used spray booth, which has never been certified. It was never observed during construction, which would fall under OSHA.
Yeah.
during
So he didn't pull a
construction.
building permit.
He didn't pull a building permit.
So what's building doing for it?
Nothing.
Turfed it.
They won't do anything because they're saying that he was grandfathered, but they've never had a spray booth there. And we got pictures and whatnot to tell you that. And so what he did by putting the spray booth in, a used spray booth, under the cover of darkness without pulling a permit, which is required, he didn't need an occupancy permit either.
Did
He-
and
he
did
was-
you
he-
bring
he
this
had
to
a-
the?
He had a change of hazard use group classification. So when you put a spray booth in a facility, that's a higher hazard use group, and it requires a site plan and a designation, a change in the occupancy.
Right.
So he
And-
doesn't have, Ajay's doesn't right now have an occupancy permit to have a spray booth or to even occupy the place. He's just in there. So all this could have been stopped, and in previous meetings, Roberta said,
Yeah.
you know, we all know that this, if this was done right, he
Right.
probably would have picked a different building to locate his business.
And what happened when you brought it to the attention of the first agent? Way back.
Yeah, yeah.
So this goes way back. Way back.
Trying to think,
Yeah, because you, one of
So
the things in
so
your
the
letter,
first
one of the
agent-
things in your letter that you said that I couldn't remember when you coming to our meetings prior to our previous agent to talk about this, and it kind of sat funny with me, because, you know, there's only always been 3 of us, and we don't get many people to come. So let me finish.
Fine.
So I asked Amanda if she could direct me to the meeting minutes or the video so I could watch it. And you never came to a meeting. You were never on our agenda, which is why I don't remember ever hearing about this. So it was never brought to the Board of Health. Okay, so now here we are. So how can we as a board fix things that we never knew about that happened a long time ago? We're trying to do the best that we can with these corrections. So I guess I don't know how else we can fix it. Go ahead.
Just to provide more information to the, it was Henry's Auto Sales and Auto Repair has been there for at least 40 years.
Okay.
Okay, that's number one. Number two is the spray paint rules did not come into effect until 2008. So it was wide open any time before that.
So he opened it up as with the spray
What he
paint
did was
prior to
he
2008?
went out, and I know that he bought, and he admits it, he bought a used spray paint booth
Yep.
from out in Western Mass. He brought it home, or brought it to Henry's shop and set it up in there, and Henry rented the building to him.
Right.
And now he's made upgrades and stuff to keep it so that it passes and meets the requirements for OTA and DEP and the Dudley Board of Health Inspector. So,
I don't
here we
know.
are now. It is zoned, or it was what you might call pre-existing non-conforming, okay, where they're in place. You can't zone them out. You can't make them leave because they're changing the zone. You'd have to go back to a town meeting vote, and the town would have to throw them out. It'd be more than that, if they could get them to get out.
Does anyone else have anything?
It just seems like with the location, the stack, the elevation of his house, I mean, you said this at another meeting.
Well, that was-
It's not gonna work.
Well, again, I had my concerns.
Yeah.
And I had my concerns in DEP, looking at DEP's suggestion. DEP made them put an extension on it to, instead of being 6 feet, it's now 12 or 16 feet
All right.
over the roof
I think
line.
we're gonna move on. All right. Anything else?
Is there anything else we can do to help Mr. Hardin? I really hate to leave a member of the public who's coming to us with these kinds of concerns and these kinds of complaints. It's dragged on for a really long time. I really would just hate to just say, sorry, you know.
But-
So,
Again,
but
maybe-
is
but
there something else we can do?
he's-
What is left for us to do?
The way I look at it is Mr. Frappier has met all the demands or suggestions from the peer review people and from the Board of Health.
And the peer review was recent,
The peer review is DEP and OTA.
and that was recent, like within the past month or something?
No.
It was done in the
That was
past,
prior.
within the past, see if I can find the date that it was done.
Well, he's
Well, it was
looking,
done after 2019,
After 2019?
after.
And so there's a chance
Well, no, I
that
mean,
he's-
as far as the information, hold on a minute.
yeah, he put his booth in 22. That's when it all started.
And that's when a lot
Go
of
ahead,
the,
Mr. Harden.
Can I
Go
answer
ahead.
your question to me? You said, you know, you didn't hear me. I didn't attend any Board of Health meetings until I believe it was June 6th of 20, actually, I have to look it up, but it was more recent than 22.
Right.
So what I was doing is I was going back and forth with Nelson Burlingame, the building inspector, and that went on, and then I went with the fire department, and that went on, and they were actually allowing him to continue spraying without the two layers of filters for quite a while. Like I said, you people don't understand the smell that you do get from my house. I'm not making it up, neither is my wife or my grandkids.
Not one of us think that
So when the
you
wind comes
are.
my way,
Yep.
it just blows right at us, and it's not like, oh, I can't smell it, it's unbelievable. In fact, I actually have something more recent that I was gonna read, but it got old and you were pressing me for time.
Well, we have a full agenda, and, you know, we hear you. A lot of the things that I wrote down were, you repeated them, so I hear
Okay,
you.
so the-
But I think, you know, you dealt with Nelson, and then you dealt with the fire department. They never said anything to the Board of Health, neither did you. So now, here you stand before us for the past year. You know, now it's for us to handle, when in the past, it was dealt by somebody else, and I just feel like you are attacking us, and you have every right to do that.
I need to
But
stop.
I understand that, but I feel like, you know, maybe if we were all together at once, we cannot go backwards, right? And I
My
don't,
rights are being violated,
I'm
and I was
just
told
telling-
by
yeah.
Michelle from DEP,
Yeah.
if I smell any odors,
Okay.
that's a violation.
so what happened now, though, that things got fixed?
That peer review
Yeah.
was supposed to determine or tell RJ how to make the odors not invade my property. If he can do that, that's great. And it wasn't any, oh, you can just smell this or smell, because it's subjective, right? So, you know.
Right, but
But
I-
when you're in my property,
Yeah.
and the way my house is, it's a 5. It's bad. I mean, recently, we had a pool full of people. One of the girl that was there had to get out and use her breath inhaler because of the smell. When we all stopped swimming because it was that bad. He couldn't smell it, but he's not on my side of the fence. And maybe the wind wasn't blowing properly. I know Tom had asked, the new Tom, had asked, where will you be taking the test, Mr. Purcell? Oh, I'll be contacting John and from his property and RJ's property. Well, that never happened. And then he gets to issue an order to let him continue spraying, and now, since it's been started again, now it's gone back on, and
Right.
it's crazy. And I can't fault RJ because he's letting him spray. I don't think he should be allowed to
Right,
spray.
so I'm wondering, you know, you said if there was a complaint that DEP or OTA would go back out. So I'm just wondering now at this point, so what you can smell at your level is completely different
Right.
from what he smells at his level, so is
Please
that?
drive
is-
by
but
and
look,
look
I'm-
at it.
I-
Please drive by and just look at that.
Okay, I'm just wondering at this point, is, if it might warrant another trip out there by these people, because perhaps the filters are good enough to, at the ground level, but maybe does he need something more as it goes up? I'm just asking out loud, because I don't know how else to rectify that. I don't know what else we can do other than find out if these people can come back.
How many AC certified?
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, sir. But you don't live in Dudley, I don't think, right? So, just hold up.
Well, I'm just saying.
No. Tom, can you answer that? Do you think that they can come back up?
I can ask.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they need to be on the other
They
side.
need to be at his house.
Right, at that level, perhaps they need more, this is gonna be the wrong word, maybe they need more packing, or whatever more they need in there to clear out the odor. Because we've already gone to that idea that perhaps he could make it even higher, or do something more, and that just wasn't feasible, right? So, that's an idea that I have. I don't know, other than, going back and saying he can't do it, but if they come back on and revisit it, and then there's no solution, then that might be another thing that the board has to now think about. Yeah,
So.
did you already do that? And you let me talk?
I'm sorry.
Did you let me do?
I do have a bad habit of over-talking. I do.
No,
have
I
that.
said, did you already do that? And then you just let me talk that whole time. You're gonna tell me the answer?
So what I was going to say
Yeah.
is, if you look at RJ's whole operation, he has an exhaust fan that's exhausting so many cubic feet per minute, right? So and it has to blow so hard to try to get the smells out.
Right.
He has no intake air. He has nothing. Common rules for exhaust fans are, if you are bringing air out, you have to have makeup air, which comes in and it supplies the
So
air.
you have all
He's
these
picking-
great points. How come they didn't pick up on it?
Well, I think the peer review, I think that's a lot of fluff.
Okay.
I think the peer review was supposed to,
Okay.
In 2019 though, right?
Pardon?
2019?
In,
Because he- I mean, maybe. they-
25.
It was in 2025?
March 4th, 25.
I think the peer review was
By
intended.
this, the air velocity and the compliance checks, and the door closures, and face velocity, air velocity measurements, spray booth maintenance, was done March 4th by TransStar Auto Body Technologies, Inc. They're a service company, one of the service companies for spray booths.
I think a peer review would be designed to tell RJ how to totally eliminate the odors from blowing in on my property. There's ways that it can be done where they can redirect the stack to put it through some sort of a scrubber he could extend his stack to the other side of the street and put a scrubber on. There's ways to control the odor, and he's cheaping out. He's just doing it the cheap way. And I'm still smelling it. That's the long and short of it.
Well, we-
I
we-
thank you
yeah.
folks for
You're
your
welcome.
time. I don't have a solution myself,
Yeah.
except I will call Michelle from DEP. She told me personally that there can't be any odors emanating from his property. He's interfering with my rights to enjoy my property, and it's going on. So
She'll tell you that.
if I can't get anywhere this way, I'm gonna have to take the town to court for not doing their job, and I don't wanna do that, but it looks like I'm not getting anything. And I wish I could go into Tom Purcell's qualifications, but you
No.
won't let me. So,
Because that's not pertinent right now. So
Okay.
did Michelle tell you that over the phone, or did she put that in writing to you?
she told me that over the phone, but I'll
Okay.
have her put it in writing as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, how she would say that, and then they would come out and do the review, and
But I
Makes
think
sense
I would
still,
love
so-
to request that the cease and desist stay in place. I don't think he should.
I heard you, yeah. Does anyone else have anything? Anna? Tom? Oh. All right,
Well, thank you for your time.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So we're at the revised Body Works regulations discussion. Does anyone have anything that they want to start with? Or do we want to table it?
Can we just table that one until?
Yeah. I know.
Table the Body Works?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
All right, we're up to new business. So West Dudley Hydro Brothers, is that Brothers? LLC PFAS release, tracking number 200512444.
All that is a communication from DEP to West Dudley Hydro Bros. Let them know that they haven't complied with an order from DEP. They're supposed to provide
I have an update.
reports and all of that, I guess.
I have an update.
You do.
Yes, I contacted the DEP. My house was tested under this RTN. So I just contacted them and just asked for an update since, you know, people want to know. I'll read the entirety of the email that I got from the DEP. It's not that long. You are correct that the West Dudley Hydro Bros received a notice of non-compliance from the department. They subsequently submitted their request for information responses to the department on August 4th, 2025, which have been uploaded to the data portal. A direct link to the RFI response can be found here. I sent Amanda a copy of it. All RFI responses, those are requests for information, have been submitted to date from various parties and are still under department review. You can see all the RFI responses that have been uploaded to the EEA data portal under the release tracking number 2-0051244. To date, the Mass DEP has sampled 7 private wells in the area and has installed 3 point-of-entry treatment systems to address PFAS 6 concentrations in private wells exceeding 90 ng per L. I've attached a map depicting the locations of the private wells that Mass DEP has sampled. Please contact me if you have any other questions or need additional information. Sarah Showalter from the Mass DEP, the BWSC PFAS section is who I spoke to, and she is the supervisor of the girl, Kelly Poulin, who has been in contact with all of us. And I sent Amanda the email with an attachment to the map, so if you are interested in looking to see who was. So they are actually in compliance, but it's still under investigation there, and there is no no responsible party. Yeah, this is what, 6 months old or something like that. So it's still in its infancy, I guess you could say. And that's it. Anybody have any questions?
So Hydro Brothers, they're back in compliance
Yes.
now?
Yes. These notices come to the Board of Health.
It's all CCs.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
They're dealing directly with Hydro Bros.
They do, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
They notify Garden Country, selectmen, the town manager,
Okay,
us.
And
Yeah.
all of the residents.
in that area, that's
Yeah, well,
affected.
Yeah. They don't,
Right.
and then they uploaded it to the DEP website,
Right,
which is
West
not the
Dudley,
easiest.
Fish Road, that.
Yes, it's not the easiest website to use sometimes, which is why it's
DEP?
important. The DEP website is
Oh,
not.
yes,
Correct.
correct.
But you can type in the tracking number to find it.
Yep,
All
you
right.
can type in the release tracking number within the DEP data, the portal.
Portal.
Yep.
Under waste site.
Yep.
And
That's the key, you gotta
reportable.
have the right,
Yes, you have to click on the right, and that's why I'm saying it's, but, you can always contact the DEP for further information and more pointed questions. They're the ones who are running the whole, they're in charge of it. We're just, making sure that, the community knows that we know and that we're here for them.
One of the things that prompted me to put it on the agenda for tonight for discussion, if you choose to, we already have well testing regulations and requirements for the Board of Health. There's no state requirement for private wells. There are none. So what each town has to do is they have to create their own set of well regs. The state offers one, what they call the model. But it's all over the ballpark as far as what people are testing for. If you have a heavy industrial zone like Millbury, Millbury tests for all kinds of stuff. Their well tests run around $3,000. Charlton, same thing. Oxford, Webster, and Dudley, and it's only because I wrote all three of them. It's down to a few $100s, but it's very easy to modify. In a case like this, I mean, we had a discussion one time about arsenic. Not everybody tests for arsenic. We did all the research. I did with USGS. We tested a lot of wells and found out a lot of information, and then we put it on the list of mandatory items to test. I'm suggesting you might want to consider adding PFAS onto the list of mandatory testing for all new
Construction.
wells. The estimated cost for adding that one item is $350. So if you're talking about it's already about $300, you're going to start bumping the well testing requirements up to about $650. I have a couple of concerns about that. Do we do the whole town, or would you suggest the whole town, or would you suggest the hot zones?
I don't think we know what a hot zone
Right.
is until
Well,
somebody
again,
tests.
at this point, right now, the hot zone has pretty much been identified as West Dudley and South Dudley. But I'm not sure where it's all identified. Again, if it's just pockets, that's one thing. You can start pointing to businesses like Mace. Mace was, when they had the fire up there was all kinds of product released up there. There was more than just the couple of companies that are in there now that they're being accused of doing it. Before they were allowed to dump, they actually came to the Board of Health back quite a few years ago, and we told them that
Who,
the board,
before who came to the board?
between Andrew Levitch
Oh, okay.
and DEP, they sent in information as well. And we picked up the ball and ran with it and said, as long as DEP was going to be monitoring all the product that comes in, we were comfortable with it. We didn't, first of all, we didn't want to take on the responsibility of testing everything ourselves, and starting to do truck counts and chemistries and everything else to go along with it. We would have had to create a whole new company just to do that. But everything was going where it was. There's also a lot of history that, if you do a lot of the historical property use, and I'm not sure about the soil hydrology, where all the groundwater movement is coming from. Is it parallel to the river? It likely is.
That would be something that you'd have to talk to the LSPs.
That's what they're
Yeah.
getting paid for.
Yes, that is, exactly.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what they're getting paid for. So, if you were going to consider putting PFAS on the list, I'd probably suggest that you talk to your town's engineers first, to see whether, if you're gonna do it, whether you would recommend it, or are you just gonna do a blanket approach and do the whole town. You have several areas, in the case of where the landfill was, that's a real bone of contention. We have industrial zones that are downstream from factories like Schofield Ave area, and things are starting, maybe showing up. And the town wells are there. I don't know whether it's all in that same aquifer, but I guess that's what the soil hydrologists are, they can identify, or just take the shortcut and
I
make
mean,
everybody do it.
If you look at some of the maps on, or in some of the neighborhoods where people have tested positive, we have a neighbor here that tested positive, very high, needed a PFAS system, then we have the one right here, no PFAS. So
That's what we
you don't
ran
know.
into with,
Yeah.
that's what we ran into with arsenic.
Right.
Arsenic was the same thing.
Right.
We, come to find out it's arsenopyrite, it was sprinkled, salt and peppered through the soil. We could have it in one property and the house next door doesn't. That's the kind of stuff that was showing up. So it's food for thought, especially with your new agent coming in and.
Right.
See how astute they are.
Do you have any recommendations?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at, PFAS stuff is, it's the new,
Yeah.
it's the new hot potato.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
All right, we'll do some more homework.
Yes, definitely do some
Yeah.
homework.
What do you think?
But they may argue, some people may argue also that, once you find out, you have a responsibility to do something.
Yeah, that's gonna be the big ticket item. What happens if they test over? Then it's gonna be, what do you
Well-
do with?
Well,
you know what I mean?
exactly,
Private-
well, and
For
it,
private wells and stuff.
When you
So-
test your private well, you do not, there are no regulations, you don't have to contact the DEP.
Yeah, you don't have to
You
tell
don't
them.
have to, you don't, it's, cause it's yours.
Yeah.
Should you choose to contact the DEP and you run, and your number is over 90 points per trillion, then that turns into an imminent threat under the DEP guidelines, and they will come in and open up an investigation and install a POET system in that residence, and then they will test all of the private wells, or even the businesses within 500 feet of that. And that is what, one of the things that has happened in my neighborhood. And the DEP, under their program, they will maintain and pay for that POET system for the business, or, well, at least for the residents, I don't know about the businesses, for the residents for 2 years. They will pay for the testing, the filter changes and all of that, while they do the investigation. However, if they don't find a responsible party after 2 years, then the homeowner has to, it's up to them to pay for it and to maintain it and
Yeah.
to deal with it.
exactly, they go through.
But nobody even has to contact the DEP.
Yeah,
Like,
it's gonna get sticky though if we do new wells, which is new construction. So then what happens at that point?
Well, at that point, there,
That's what we
again,
have to
there is
look into it.
there is a solution to doing it. It's not cheap, but relatively speaking, it is cheap. If you can get the use of a house for a few $1,000s for a chemical treatment plant, or your own mini treatment plant, that's not such a bad thing. You're talking, we're talking, everything now is $250,000 or more to buy or to move into.
Yeah.
So, it was always been the same argument when we were testing for radon, when we were testing for arsenic, when we were testing for, something else. All the builders would
the sellers would have to.
complain.
Well, the
Because
builders would have to put in the system.
They'd have to put the system in, you couldn't get an occupancy permit
Right.
without it, without any treatment. It's our responsibility to make sure that, people are protected,
Yeah.
so.
The other thing is, it says new wells, or what if we add on people that are selling their homes, like the new people moving into the town? You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
it's-
again,
there's a lot, you know what I mean?
that's another way you can
Yeah.
look at it.
If you're
Could we
selling
start with
anything
just new
new.
wells?
You
Could we
can-
start
but
small and?
Usually what you do in a case like that, we learned that with Title V stuff. The real enforcement agency is the bank.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, very true.
You can't pass the papers without a Title V. They want to see it, because they don't want to get stuck with it. And you do the same thing with, if you've got a positive radon, they want to see a radon remediation system. In a case like this, if you've got a PFAS that's over, they said the drinking water standard is around 20 nanograms per liter. If it's over 20 nanograms per liter, that's what, a billion? 20 billion parts per liter?
Yeah, well, I think
Well, 120,
it's
I
worth
should
for us
say.
doing some more homework for sure.
But it's things to do, and I guess that's one of the purposes of the board. It isn't up to the agent to do all of this. You can do your own research on it. You can be your own source. You can bring it all up for discussion and decide which direction you're gonna go.
We don't have to take a big chunk all at once either.
No, we could start small.
Because even,
Exactly.
but even if, how many houses are built in Dudley, it's not that many, and even how many houses are sold in Dudley, it's also not that many. If you actually, follow
True.
the real estate, it's not.
True.
So that would be starting small, in my opinion.
Just a quick
Yeah,
question.
but it's
Yeah.
not, actually, it's not the town's responsibility to do it.
Yeah.
All
It'd be
we're
good to
doing is,
see it.
we, as you, the board, are out there to protect people from themselves, is what they're doing.
Are our well regs online on the Board of Health page?
Yes.
There's a copy in your
There is,
book, too.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they're online.
Because they're all different.
Well, again, it's whatever's a hot ticket item.
So-
Out in Leicester, residential, I mean,
Right.
you got a lot of farming stuff.
Right now,
So you'll see
big for us
pesticides.
is bedrock. Because as soon as you go through bedrock, you need an alpha.
Well, yeah, right.
And then from there, you gotta do your uranium.
Your alpha,
and-
you're gonna do your radon, you're gonna
Correct.
do all that stuff.
Right. But I don't believe our regs in my town, we don't have PFAS.
But if you check, I'm not sure whether you have arsenic out there yet. Okay, because we had it put on yours as well.
Yep.
We told everybody Auburn had a problem. All of a sudden, they started testing for it, and it
Yep.
showed up.
Yep.
What we did was we went out, we worked a deal with a lab testing company. And they got it down to like $5. So we tested, I don't know, a couple of hundred wells out there to create a map
Yep.
of the hot zone. The problem you have with PFAS is that the people at the lab told me, when you pull a spec, we have to also run a blank.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be cheap. Now they're running, it's actually 2 tests. And when you do when you're doing, I asked if they had something like, because we got the PFAS and PFOS, and we got 6 or 7 different ones. When we get into the volatile organic compounds, the VOCs, you could run one blanket test and that'd cover like 50 different items. And I was just wondering if I asked them if there was a single test that would pick up the multitude of PFAS stuff. Because it's not just one item. And just think of what we've had around the town for factories between Webster and Dudley, between the furniture place, the shoe factories, the print shops.
Ethan Allen.
We've got and then upstream, you've got everything all the way into Leicester, up into Rochdale area, because that's all industrial
No,
up there.
yeah.
Yep.
That comes down the French River. And it comes right down that aquifer, the French River Basin, so. There's a lot more to it than just checking the ice cream.
I think we have a comment out there.
Come on up.
Sorry, I know there was comments earlier, but I was confused if I could wait till afterwards. My name is Jillian Baker, at 6 Intervale Road. My house is one of the houses. I'm actually the person who tested and opened up the RTN, because mine was in the 300s for PFAS at my house. So I know that you were considering adding that. I think that's a great idea for new construction. There were 2 houses that were just built on West Dudley Road that were right in that vicinity, and I don't, unless the homeowner decides to test It's not gonna be a requirement. I strongly suggest, if anyone's watching in this West Dudley area, that they test their own wells. Mine cost $728, but that included the PFAS and for the bacteria and for the metals and all that stuff. It was $270 just for the PFAS. And I got that from Safewell, and they came out and did the test. So it's not that much money, considering the risk. I have 2 little kids at home that have been drinking our well water since they were born. So they've been drinking PFAS contaminated water. My daughter just turned 9, my son's 5, as well as me and my husband. We moved there in 2014. So that's 11 years of drinking this water. Luckily, DEP did come out and put in the POET system. But I think that as the Board of Health, you said that, you know, one of your jobs is to be concerned with the water quality of your residents. I'm wondering, is there a way that you guys can send out notices to residents encouraging them to test or letting them know? Or is their only option to watch these meetings? Because I know that there's a lot of residents that have had no idea, anyone that I've talked to, and they have no idea that this is going on. They don't know what PFAS is.
There are people out there that are afraid to find out.
And then that's okay, but if they can make that choice once they have the information, and they might say, you know what, I want to live in the dark. But people like me who have little kids at home, if I wanted to not test and say, you know what, I'll take the risk, but they might want to for their children's sake. It can cause cancer. And I think that that's a big issue. And I think it's well worth the cost for anyone in the town to do the testing themselves. And I think it's worth the cost to possibly send out notices to these residents in these hot areas, so to speak. I would also suggest, I don't know if any of you have read any of the RFI responses on the RTN. One in particular is about the Mannion response regarding the lagoon for the West Dudley Dam. I found that to be concerning because at the time there was test pits dug and they breached the lagoon liner. And there were concerns at that time when the water department breached the lagoon liner that they were contaminating the groundwater and the soil. And that was brought up back in 2005. And that could be a potential cause of this PFAS. PFAS wasn't tested back then. They were testing for heavy metals. Now, I don't know, DEP knows about this, obviously, now, so I don't know if they're gonna go back into that area and test. But I would strongly suggest you read that as well as the other ones, because if the water department breached the liner and caused that, then that could be the cause for the area of my house and the other houses that have tested way above the limits. And one of my concerns is when I asked for, I did a request for information from the town, I was told by the water department that there were either no records or they couldn't find the records about this. And then I was told that they talked to the commissioners and that they never had access to that property and no test pits were ever dug. And that was told to me back in March. Since then, this RFI response has come out and said that there were in fact test pits dug and the lagoon liner was breached. So there is a complete a conflict of information between what the town knows or didn't know or doesn't have access to for information and what is now listed in this RFI. And I sent the DEP, obviously, my contact there, all of the emails that I had regarding that. So I'm waiting for a response back from her. But that is a big concern to me when there's a letter on there stating that they are concerned with the breach of that liner. And it's, I don't know if there's any more information. I'd like to see it, because why were they digging in a lagoon that had like sludge from the paper mill factory? I don't see that as being a good area to be even digging in the first place. But I don't have information. I've requested it and I didn't receive anything. So the only info I have is on this RFI response. If there's anything else, I'd like to see it, but I strongly suggest you guys read that as well as the other RFI responses. I didn't see the West Hydro Bros. I didn't see it up yet, but they might be uploading it this week. I did check earlier, so.
I'm not sure, sometimes they may not make the RFIs for the companies public. I'm not sure if that's part of the.
Yeah,
part of the
they,
problem.
they are on there, so they are in compliance. When they're in compliance, it means they've answered it. It doesn't necessarily mean they're in compliance with the way they dispose of their chemicals or whatever they're doing over there. So I haven't seen that report yet, but I would strongly suggest everybody to read it. This is a big concern for me, obviously. I'm affected. I'm gonna have to pay for this treatment for the, if they don't find a responsible party, I'm responsible. It's a small cost when you consider the health of your family, but also if there's somebody that's responsible besides me, they should be paying whoever it is. And so I'd like to see more information from the town side, and DEP's working on it, obviously, from any of the businesses and still investigating. So I'd like to see more information on that, but I think in the meantime, letting the residents know would be huge. And then they can choose to live in the dark, or at least they have a fighting chance of saying, hey, I'm concerned. I would like to test myself. Thank you for bringing this up. Because otherwise, if they're not watching this, how would they know if they don't come to the meetings? I know they have a right to, and they probably should, but based on word of mouth, nobody has any idea what I'm talking about. I'm talking a different language when I'm talking about this. And I've been doing my research because I didn't know anything about this. I just said, I'm gonna waste my money, I'm gonna test. And this was back in November. And I thought that I was throwing $700 out the door. And I had no idea that any of this was gonna happen. I'm glad I did it. But I didn't know anything about it, and since then, I've done a ton of research, trying to educate myself as much as possible, but I work full-time. I've got 2 little kids, so it's hard for me to be the person trying to find all this information out. So I'm looking everywhere possible for help. And I think that that would be helpful to other residents if you could, number one, make it so new construction has that testing, and then also maybe think about sending some sort of notice out.
I remember you at one of the last meetings, and I don't remember the comment that was made, but I remember you saying something on the lines of testing your water, and there was a little bit of a back and forth. So I guess now I'm hearing, Sandy said it and you just said it about the POET system. So I think back then when it was first discussed, there was a little bit of heat in the room, a little bit of anger in the room about, like, I gotta test it, then I gotta pay for it, where is it coming from? So it sounds like now, fast forward to now, if you test your water and it's above the limit, they will put it in for you?
Has to be above 90.
Above 90,
90.
all right.
And
if
mine
it-
was
If it
300.
wasn't, it's up to you to pay for it.
Correct.
If you want it.
All right. I don't think that was part of the discussion the last time, so I'm kind of pleased to hear that there's a little bit of help, because it sounds like it's very expensive.
Yeah, I think that back then, my concern was mostly like, I'm gonna be on the hook for paying for the maintenance of it. It's at that, yeah, they were always going to install the
Yeah.
POET system, and they
Yeah.
provide the bottled water until that
Yeah.
point, which is great, and that's super helpful. But now it's finding the responsible party, and if not, then
If
I-
you choose to, you have to.
right, or I choose to drink the contaminated water, which is, it's not gonna happen. And the bottled water was helpful.
Yeah.
But you can't live off that when you're trying to cook for children. It doesn't work that way. And then also, being at 300, when I talked to Kelly, she was talking about bathing. She told me to reduce the amount of time that my children were in the tub. Now, I told you I had an 8 and a 5-year-old. They said the limit is 500. And she said I would probably have them in the tub for no more than 20 minutes.
Who told you that?
Kelly Poulin.
Who?
Kelly Poulin from DEP. And she said that being that high at the 300 level, to try and keep them in the water for as minimal time as possible because of that, because the likelihood they might get water in their mouth, they're drinking, they're little kids. But she expected that 500 limit to come down, just like they were saying that, I think the 40, then the EPA is what, 20? So same thing, 500, they were expecting at some point that might be reduced. So, that could be 300. So then my kids were bathing in water that was also at the limit.
Right.
So they're changing the limits all the time. they're probably, I don't know if they've done it yet, but Massachusetts is probably gonna pick up that 20 limit that the EPA is on. So then there'll be people who are,
Again, the state doesn't regulate private wells. That's part of the problem. Or not a problem, but the state only regulates public water supplies.
right,
They do not regulate your well, my well.
but they give guidance,
They don't decide anything.
right.
It's left up to the local community to decide what's going to be tested and what isn't. That's up to the town of Dudley.
Right, so we can let people know that they are in an area.
Well, again, that's, now you gotta sell the job, and then you gotta sell the correction. And you gotta sell the idea that, the affordability of it, or you're gonna find somebody to pick up the tab for it.
Right, but I think it's important that people have that information in
And it's a
hand.
decision they make, but people make decisions, they don't make wise decisions, otherwise,
Right, I could have chose not to report it to the DEP and chose to continue to drink the water that's possibly poisoning my family, but I chose not to. So that's why I think it's important for people to at least have the information at hand. Because then they can choose, they can do the same thing. They say, put, block your eyes, block your ears, I don't care, I don't want to know about it, throw it in the trash. Or they can say, I'm going to do something about it, we'll find a way. Or if it's above 90, then the DEP, they can report it, and the DEP will come in and put it in. And then they'll be responsible. If they don't have a responsible party, then they'll be paying for the maintenance, but they won't be paying for the install of the system.
I find it hard to believe that water used for bathing, if it was up and you'd set limits on it, when you take a look at the products that people are wearing all day long, with the wrinkle-proof clothing.
Well, I think they're talking, what she was talking about, because they can ingest it.
They can ingest it and it's absorbed into.
So the kids being in the tub, my kids have their mouth under the faucet. So what she's saying is try to keep them out of the tub for that reason. So how many little kids are in tubs for, longer than 20? I know I'd put my kids up in the tub while I go cook dinner for 45 minutes, because it gives me time, so it's one of those things. They like being in the tub, they like to play in there, and having that as, you have to remove them from the tub because what's your own well water,
Well, and when you hear that from from a representative from the DEP, you listen. And
Right.
It's scary.
Yeah,
It's scary.
so
Thank you.
that's all I have to say about that, but if we can take that into consideration, and if we can try and find out if there's any more information after you guys get familiarized with this RTN, I think that you should all read it, because I'm gonna try and follow up and see what else I can find from anyone. DEP probably first. We'll be looking into that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Hi, Cheryl Leto, 38 West Dudley Road. I wasn't going to speak, but because I thought Jillian did a great job. But there is one more thing I want to encourage our residents to consider when they think about testing their wells. The DEP will test that 500, I think it's 500 feet. And then every time they find someone else that's above the limit, that circle can expand. And that's how we can sort of find the source wherever it is. So if people just stay within that first circle, it never gets to expand and keep moving to find wherever that source might be. So that's part of why it's important to just test, so that we as a community might figure out where this is coming from. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything on that discussion? No? TK?
I do, just
Go.
just touching on it, PFAS.
Yeah.
I kind of like this idea because of the problem that Dudley is having with it.
Well, one of the things it can be, it's now a mandatory data building.
Absolutely.
We can take the information and compile it and give it off to our consultant. that, here it is, right here. This is what we've got. Do we have a landfill that's impacting it? Do we have old landfills that you didn't even know about? That I've come across a couple of them in my trade, so. And the industrial, the discharge, groundwater movement, the soil hydrology. What happens is if it dumps into the groundwater, believe it or not, if most of our artesian wells, those are all bedrock wells. So those aren't even drilled into, they're not picking up groundwater. They're drawing water from, the ledge starts anywhere from 30 or 40 feet down to 600 feet. And they're picking up water that's coming in through the fissures of the cracks in the rock, and that's where it's all coming from. So technically it's a different water supply altogether. But it's still nice to know where we're starting to get problems, where the areas are. And it's a very easy thing for you to do. You can, even if you wanted to do it tonight, if you wanted to modify the town regs, you don't have to hold, this is the public hearing. You do not have to advertise it in the newspaper. You can change the rules as you see fit. If you take a look at.
And that's to modify them.
Huh?
That's to modify
Well,
them.
that's to even enact them. The only thing that you need public hearings for and advertising in the newspaper for Title V changes. Everything else is a free-for-all. When you read these Board of Health Guides number 53, did we give you copies of all of that?
Is that the one I sent you?
Yes.
Okay.
I read it.
Yep.
And I looked at it, and it's right in the very middle. It says, on hearing. It says you can change any of the stuff you want.
It's under tab 3.
The board can do that. It's just as easy for you to uncouple it, too. If you decide that, okay, we don't want to do that, we can take that off. You can go back and modify it. All you do is, you can, what does it say here? You got to make sure that you do it the right way. It says, posted formal hearings are not required for local regulations, except for Title V regulations, which require a hearing before they're being adopted. So that's for Title V. The hearing notice must be posted in the newspaper at least 2 consecutive weeks before the hearing. That, again, that gets attached to Title V. Though not required for other local regulations, a hearing is always a good idea before adopting any local regulation. Simple as that. You can go in and you can modify it to do whatever you want. You can take the existing regulations. We didn't give them a copy of the well regs, did we?
Yes.
Okay, so if you look on the list, you can just add one in. It's easy enough for Amanda to modify the template.
And then would that change the revised date?
Pardon?
Would that change the revised date from 2007?
As soon as you,
Because these well regs are from '07, I believe.
yeah, those are from '07. Okay, it says the regulations must be in writing and approved at a Board of Health meeting. So you can do that. You can just technically just write it right on the regulation for now and tell Amanda to modify the template. And then you vote on it. And that's it. Then the smart thing would be to take any of the new buildings permits or permits that are out, or any of the new well regs that are out. We give them a copy of the testing requirements. They can't get a certificate of compliance or an occupancy permit until everything's tested for. And remediation is put into place. We do that already with radon. We do that with any of the other inorganics and organics, but, and to address this matter. It's remedial. Everything that we do it's remedial, but we're still under the real expensive well testing requirements. You know, if you're talking $600 or $700 or $800,
It's a peace of mind, just like having your septic system pumped every 2 to 3, every year, every 2 year, every 3 year, depending on your household. It's an insurance policy in my eyes.
yeah, I mean, what we do, anytime we do stuff like this, we usually try to recommend that people retest their wells like every 3 years. Most people don't. I've been in my house 50 some odd years and I've never tested it.
It's probably the best water, right?
Pardon?
It's probably the best water.
Well, yeah, and then, yeah, it's the sweetest water. But I don't play in a bathtub either, so I don't.
No.
So I think it's a lot of food for thought, and I don't want to just make that decision tonight, because there's a lot to read.
That's what I was
So
thinking.
I think,
Okay.
as far as that goes, I think, you know, there's a lot, because if we're going to talk to the engineers, are we going to talk to the water sewer department? Are we going to have some discussions,
Well,
not
that's-
tonight at,
Water sewer is.
It's
that's-
It's separate,
that's-
this just has to do with
That's-
well water
this is
only.
private
It's
well.
only private
no,
well.
I'm just asking, because you said we should talk to engineers, and I'm like, do we have to talk to
No,
them
no,
too,
no,
you know?
no,
All right.
No,
All right.
you don't need to consult, you don't need
All
to
right.
consult those people.
That's why I'm asking.
All
But
you
that's why
gotta do
I
is-
also
But I do
don't want to make a
agree.
We're
decision
gonna feed
tonight.
them
I
data.
agree with that.
Yeah.
We want to feed them data. After
Got
we
it.
test, we
Yeah.
want to feed them.
Yeah.
So that they can mark it down on their well.
Yeah, I guess that's gonna be another question
Yeah.
is once the new wells are in, to get the occupancy permit, they'd have to show proof of testing, correct? And then if it's over, then because it's voluntarily, like, would the town, if it's over, report it to the DPA?
It's not,
or
man-
would-
once,
That's what I'm
once we
saying.
require testing.
Yeah, once
you-
it, to get
it's
an
not man-
occupancy permit.
It's not volunteer anymore.
Well, once, if we put this in, then they're gonna, to get an occupancy permit, we're gonna have to prove it. Well, what if it's over the 90 at that point? Because you don't have, the owners of the
have to
property
retest.
don't have to, like, show the DEP it if they don't want
No,
to.
It's not
So
DEP
then- well,
that's going to
sorry.
regulate it. It's going to be,
But I'm just saying, like, if it's over 90, you can keep it to yourself or you can report it.
oh,
That's what she
No,
was
you-
saying.
No, that's not.
But
Is
if
that what you were,
it's-
what she was saying? 'Cause
Me,
the
no.
90 came-
Different.
The 90 came from,
But I'm saying, you guys are saying if it's over 90, then
the
they'll put in a bullet.
DEP will, because
Yeah.
that turns into an imminent hazard according to the DEP. If your number is over 90, then, and you contact them.
If you contact them.
contact
Yeah,
them.
that's where I'm getting at.
Right, so you wanna know, like, are we gonna
Make
mandate that
them
these
to
people?
contact, yeah, that's what I'm
Well,
saying. That's where.
I think maybe the answer is if they contact them and the DEP wants to step in because the house is for sale.
But that's, yeah, that's what I'm saying,
I
because
mean,
then we're gonna
but-
also have to make regulations that they have to contact it if it's over, or are we gonna leave
But
it up to the?
The DEP may not step in if the house is
Yeah.
for sale.
No, I
They're doing
understand
this
that,
for
but that's what I'm
homeowners.
saying for Dudley, though, we're just gonna tell the new owners, hey, it's over. Like, are we gonna take that additional step to
Well,
make them?
what you have to
Report.
notify DEP
Yeah.
for is DEP's, if they're going to offer any assistance.
Yeah.
So to
An
qualify for
investigation.
the assistance, you have to give them the data.
Yeah, but then that also becomes, because the homeowner, the person that's selling it is technically, and that's their information, and now we have to give it to the town of Dudley, and then is the town of Dudley gonna make them report it to the, you know what I mean? Or is it gonna, that's where I'm
It's the-
saying it
it's
gets
the Board of
sticky.
Health, right?
And is the
Yeah.
person that sold the house originally going to be held responsible?
That's where
Absolutely.
we're,
As far as I know, absolutely not.
see, that's where I'm getting at,
Can't,
that
you know,
it
you-
needs to be,
It wasn't required prior to.
yeah.
Yeah.
And who, so it'd still be DEP that would pay for that POET system, not the Board
If
of
they
Health?
wanted
It
to,
would never be the.
Depending if they.
It would,
you
I
know,
mean, it would never be the Board of Health that
Yeah.
would pay for it.
Right.
It would either be the person that owns the home, so the builder.
yeah.
They could make a deal with the buyer and maybe
Yep.
go half and half, just like we do in arsenic and radon and
Right,
all
right,
of that.
right, yeah, take it off or-
You would have to check with the DEP to see if they would take on, if they would still pay for a POET
If they're-
system for
right,
a
if
home
there
that's for sale.
grants-
They're
grants
only doing it for
available.
families
Yeah.
and the person who owns the home to assist people affected by it.
Right.
They're probably not gonna do it for a builder, but,
That's where I'm getting
Yeah.
at, like, then it becomes like, then.
yeah, but that's not for us to deal with, that's for the
But that's what I'm saying, is if we require the testing, then are we gonna just, okay, you did the testing, okay, good enough, and that's where it ends? And then if it's over the 90, then the new owners can come in and say, we wanna report it, where does that, like, that's where I'm kinda
Again,
at a
now,
loss.
we'll say you would.
And then also, does it become public
We
information?
look for sodium, we look for fluoride, okay? We look for fluoride, just because the fluoride is there, it means that you've got to do corrections, or in a case like nitrates. Nitrates are over 10 milligrams per liter. You have to either have a remedy for it to bring it down under 10 by doing treatment or whatever. It's usually, in a case like this, it's the builder or the seller's responsibility, typically. But there's nothing in the law that says that it's his responsibility. He can pass it on to the buyer and
But
say,
that's
hey,
where I
look,
was getting
you
at.
can do that, but that's negotiation between
Yeah, no,
them,
I
it's not
understand.
us.
Gotcha, that's
And
where I
it's
was
not
kinda
the town,
getting at.
unless,
If it's over 90, are you gonna make the building, you know what I mean, the owner?
well, somebody's gotta
But-
correct it. You don't care who, the Board of Health doesn't care who corrects it. You wanna make sure that that well is corrected, that water supply is corrected, it's potable.
But it's not.
Well, it's
Well,
gonna have to be
I think
made
that
potable.
what we are going to think about doing, we gotta do our homework, is
Yeah.
to put this, to modify adding PFAS to well testing. Whatever happens after that result comes is now the responsibility of the homeowner and the new person coming in. Just like my daughter had a septic that needed to be pumped, and they negotiated the price off. So I don't think we, as a board, this is just me, that's why we all have to do our own homework. I don't think we, as a board, should be the ones to say, all right, you found it, now you need to tell this homeowner this.
Gotcha.
I think we, that's what I think, but we
absolutely.
just have to do some more work to kind of figure out what we think we want to do, how we
Can't
want to
hide
include it.
Roberta. You can't
don't
hide
know.
it, you
That's just my
cannot
thought.
fail to mention it.
But that's, yeah,
That becomes consumer fraud.
No, what I'm saying is,
But
to Anna's point.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like, I don't think the Board of Health should be the one to say, all right, guys, you're selling your house. Where do we stand in that decision for that homeowner and that prospective homeowner to make that decision?
All
All
we
Do it
do
with
is,
Title V all day long.
right, so,
You can't,
okay,
you can't sell that house. It doesn't say you have to correct it.
Yep.
Title V does not say you have to correct it. Title V says
Yeah,
you have to
disclosure.
make the buyer aware of
Yeah.
the
Aware, and that's it.
condition.
yeah.
And yeah.
That's what I said, we have to make them aware, but I don't think we
But-
as a board are now gonna say, this is the next step
pointing
after you made
pictures. Yeah,
them aware.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So we would end at, hey, here's your
Title V
report, here it
again
is, we're done.
says the buyer has got to be made aware, number
Yeah.
one. Number
Yes.
two is that thing has to be fixed in 2 years.
Exactly, but
Whether-
that's up to them to decide how to do
How to
that.
fix
Well,
it.
exactly. I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
telling them that they.
That's what I just said.
what-
I don't, yeah, that's what I
That's
just
what
said.
you just said.
Well,
You
don't-
answered my question, yes.
You don't care
Our
who fixes
end.
it, just somebody's got to
Yeah.
fix it.
Right, that's why I said we are
Yeah.
responsible for saying that you are aware of this,
And
but
you know
we're
who's
not
gonna
responsible
dictate.
for
You
telling
know
them
who's
how to
going to
fix
step
it.
in on that,
Well,
is the banking industry.
Well, that's
Okay, well,
fine with them.
that's
They're
fine
not
when
going
we
to
get
allow
to
you,
that
just like
point.
you want to
Yeah.
sell a house with a failed Title V. You better come up with a pretty good story to tell the banker that he's going to loan money on a
Right.
deficient house.
yeah,
I got it.
but I see, yeah.
Right?
You
Does that-
answered my question.
does that
You
make
did,
sense?
Because like,
I don't- all
our
right.
job is just to say, hey, you tested it, here's the numbers, you guys figure it out from there, here's the numbers. And then it goes like you guys were saying, it,
Well,
Whoever
I
owns
really
it
don't
or
want you to
buys
scare
it.
yourself, get scared off of that for fear that we're trying to protect people from themselves. That's what it
Oh,
is. That's our
absolutely,
job.
Absolutely.
Like, I
I
guess
think
the
it's
banks
a
will
great
step in,
idea,
hey.
and
That's
like
our-
Title V, we let them, they have 2
Right.
years to fix it. Either they can negotiate, they can get some money, they
Yes.
figure it out how they do in every other real estate transaction.
Typically, they would put that in escrow. I would
Correct.
say at the
But-
closing, you would,
Yeah.
that they would.
But that's,
If you deal,
We
if
just
you
leave it.
deal,
That's for
believe it
them
or
to
not, with
decide,
VA,
not us. That's
or
what I was
Exactly.
saying.
It's not
I
us.
didn't,
It's
the
not
Board of Health
us.
shouldn't say how to fix it.
No,
No,
no.
No, maybe I
No.
worded it wrong. Could we
Yeah.
rewind the tape? No. All right. Are we done with
Yes.
that? We have Tom, every time you come back, you give us a lot of homework. I gotta make a motion for you not to give us homework. All right, so we're gonna table our health agent interviews. And now we're back to other business. If there is anything, anyone? Nothing. Our next meeting, so if anyone has anything to let Amanda know 48 hours prior to the meeting, September 16th is our next meeting, 6 o'clock.
What time, Roberta?
6, this time I fixed my calendar.
You sure?
Yeah, I promise.
And that was September what?
16th.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other member issues discussion? Anyone? From you guys? No? Amanda had sent me an email about COVID kits, and I was able to order some today, so I don't know if I was approved, and I don't know how many. They just said, do you want some? And I said yes, so I ordered them, and we'll see if I get a response, so. All right? That was it from me. Anyone else? All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Anyone?
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sandy. All right, all in favor? All right, meeting adjourned at 8:05.